Ah, Kem is here. Amazing.
Rob,
Buddy.
my man, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, when I swing, I put that fire to your chest. Talking ass, better wear a fucking vest.
And so my pastor mentioned to me a couple weeks ago that the way that he said there's a scientist, a biologist, a young Earth creationist at McMaster who said that the way that this I'm just quoting, okay?
Sure.
He said that the way that they're reading radiometric dating is faulty. And I don't remember how my pastor explained it, but I'm gonna bring it to his attention again because I want to get the rhetoric right. So I'm
sure. I mean, radiometric dating is, again, it's not just like established geology. It's so solid and so well understood that several multi-billion-dollar global industries rely on it.
Oh, I don't dispute that it's relied on for like the practical purpose that you're saying.
The practical purpose is the dating of rocks that are millions of years old in order to locate oil deposits.
The thing is, the age of the rocks is the age. Okay, maybe I'll ask this question: is the age of the rocks important for how the mechanism works in the real world?
Yes. We need to accurately locate oil deposits. And that requires knowing what sections of rock are how old, because we understand the rate of decay of biologic material into petroleum products.
Yeah, but do you think that some, like, say, uneducated Joe Blow on the street could just say, "Hey, man, I want you to go in there and I want you to start banging some rocks. I want you to tear it apart. In 1 hour, do this and heat it to this thing, and you can go over here and do this." Like, I'm not so sure.
I'm not sure what your question is.
Okay, well, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure that we need to know the age of the rocks underneath the earth in order to make fossil fuel.
No, we need to know the age of the rocks under the earth to know where the fossil fuels are located in order to dig them up. Because they're under the earth, Rob. Like they're under the ground. Right. And in order to locate them, we need to know how dig to deep. Like this is a normal part of the fossil fuel industry. But any petroleum engineer can tell you this, that radiometric dating is a critical part of their job and of their industry.
But you can probably figure out to some degree or another where to dig and how dig.
This is how you figure it out, through the use of radiometric dating and tracking certain kinds of isotopes across large sections.
But you can probably track isotopes without knowing the age of the thing you're finding, and you can
Rob, we track them using their half-lives. We track them using the rate of radiometric decay. If we're going to have a
conversation, you got to listen while I'm talking.
I am listening to you, and I'm answering your questions.
Okay, but I'm not even asking a question yet. I'm putting it out at ease. Okay, so let me try this again.
Okay.
Please wait till I'm finished.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, appreciate that. So my proposition is they could probably. Okay, I'm not a technician, but I'm going to say I understand concepts. So just bear with me. You can correct it when I finish.
Sure.
However, I'm not sure how what technology people use. Like I said, I'm not a technician, so again, feel free to correct me when I'm finished. But say on the face of it, whatever instruments people use to find wherever the hell the isotopes are to know where to dig, I'm of the impression that you probably don't need to infer millions of years about where it is, the location of it is. You probably don't need to infer millions of years. Know that you need to dig about 3 to 4 to 500 or how many other feet it is under the first face of the surface in order to hit that thing. I mean, you could probably do a trial and error thing just as well and figured it. All right, I'm finished.
Okay, so I'm gonna say two things. Number one, I encourage you when you go to McMaster. I'm not sure what kind of faculty they might have there, but I encourage you to speak with a geologist, a chemical engineer, or a petroleum engineer if you guys have a program for petroleum engineering, and talk to them about how radiometric dating is used in the petroleum industry, and they will be able to give you a more exact answer, right? Because I am not a subject matter expert.
Nor am I, obviously.
So the other thing is that trial and error is not really possible when you're building an offshore oil rig. Okay, oil rigs.
Okay, well, I was
hold on. Let me finish. Oil rigs are massively expensive buildings that have to be made in some of the most remote locations on Earth with the most minimal amount of logistical support possible for any sort of construction that humans have ever done. Right? You're literally building a platform in the middle of the fucking ocean, bro.
Yeah,
it's super expensive. Trial and error would make this kind of stuff prohibitively expensive. You need to know exactly where the oil deposit is before you drill. Because if you miss it, you're out billions of dollars.
The other thing is
this is an exact science. As far as exact as science can get, as a matter of fact. Geology is probably the most solid science there is.
Well, I was going to say, for the sake of trial and error, actually, I do see a fundamental problem with that too, and that is safety. You could fucking kill yourself.
Yeah. So I mean, this has to be based on solid, exact science. The numbers cannot lie, right? Because otherwise, you're out billions of dollars. So again, radiometric dating aside, right? When we let's say that you're standing next to a teacher in a classroom who is presenting the bone. What do you want to say to the children as this bone is being presented?
Yeah, you want to present facts. You want to be honest.
Sure. But what is your take on that bone? Is what I'm saying as a creationist.
Like in what regard?
Assume that you're standing in a classroom full of students, right? I'm giving you the opportunity to present your point of view simultaneously as we're having this discussion about this bone, right? So presume that I'm presenting about the bone, right? And I'm saying this is a Tyrannosaurus bone. We have radiometrically dated it to be 300 million years old. Here is the data that we collected. Here is the machine. Here's how we located the bone, where we expected it to be, where we found it, under what conditions it was found, right? Rob, what do you have to say to the children about the bone?
I'd probably say everything except the age. I could still give details without the age.
You could give details about Pangea?
No, I didn't say that. I could, but I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's part of the process of locating the bone. Is we expected Tyrannosaurus Rex to live at a time when the Earth looked like this. It lived about here. What's that?
What if I don't have the expectation that you have of where to find it?
Okay, so how did you find it?
That's a good question. I wouldn't say, well, I would, first of all, because it's my field, I'm a teacher, I'd say, well, I haven't found it. Other people found it, but this is a bone. And we could talk about bone density. We could talk about structure. We could talk about curvature. We could talk about a lot of things. We can try to infer tendons. We could infer structure. We could probably, to some degree, we could probably be able to build a model that would replicate its size to some degree, Heather.
Okay. So a child asks you, how old do you think the bone is? Because I told them 300 million years, and they want to know what you think.
I do not know.
Okay. So then I go on maybe to the next section, which is about the skeleton that the bone belongs to, right? And so I can show, this is how we excavated the entire skeleton, right? It was found in this position, with these bones missing, which suggests that it died while defending itself from a different apex predator about 300 million years ago in this range of this forest, where we know that they were very commonly found. This is sort of where Tyrannosaurus Rex lived. We found a lot of different specimens here. This is how we know how it died. What is your take on that?
Can you say the last part again? How you think it died?
Yeah, so we found it in a particular position when it was excavated, right? And that position, given what's that?
What was the position?
Rob, this is for the sake of example. I'm not a paleontologist.
No. I'm just saying, like, what position?
Given the position and the number of bones missing in a particular section, we can reasonably assume that this skeleton belonged to an animal that was being attacked and died after being killed by another apex predator, right? Which is something that's very normal. Usually, the position of the skeletons, other things in the same geologic strata can give you enough information to infer how these animals could have died.
Yeah,
right?
we use the same thing with forensics today when we're trying something.
Exactly. So when we look at, for instance, fossils around the Chicxulub crater, right, in southern Mexico, we can see the deposits of the soot, right above where all of these skeletons are, so we can infer that this is a mass extinction event, right?
Okay. Yeah, fair. I got you.
So what, for instance, that's another good one. What do you have to say about mass extinction events as part of the geologic column, where we find a bunch of soot and torn up earth that has been pushed out of its layer?
You're asking me before I can present my position?
Yeah. So I mean, I've shown this to the children, let's presume, and how do you explain that from your point of view?
Well, from my point of view, the only thing I would be able to articulate and demonstrate to the best of my ability, and by demonstrating, I mean induction and inference, Noah's flood would be the best alternative to that explanation.
When do you presume that happened?
I would say that happened 4,000 to 4,500 years ago. No, sorry. Let me rephrase. Not 4,000 to 500. I would say 6,000 to 6,500 years ago.
Okay. Based on the same evidence that I'm producing? Because what I've produced points to a mass extinction event caused by a meteorite. Right? And and the way we know that, right, is when the rock hits, it tears up molten rock from lower strata and redistributes it around a certain area, right? And so the skeletons, the massive amount of skeletons, plus this geologically non-homogeneous section of rock that seems like it should have been from a lower layer, tells us that this is a meteorite impact event. And we can trace this down to the impact crater in Chicxulub, Mexico, or just outside Chicxulub, Mexico, right? And this happened 300 million years ago, because we've dated all of this rock to be 300 million years old.
Okay, so what I said, again, going back to my position would be that what we're talking about is an extinction level event, 6 to 6,500 years ago, that was caused, and then what caused the mass extinction was a global flood from underneath the earth and from above the earth. So rain from above and below caused a global mass extinction.
How do you know that this happened 6,500 years ago?
Give or take, that's how the Bible has been dated, that happened about that time, given the chronology of the Bible.
Okay, so you are dating the rock based on what the Bible says.
Correct.
Not based on what the rock says.
The rocks don't say anything.
The rocks say a lot. Okay. The material composition of the rocks say a lot. When we put the rocks under a microscope, right, and we measure how much material, what kinds of rock, what kinds of minerals are in the rock, right, we can detect the presence of a certain amount of radioactive isotopes, and we can detect their decay materials, and we can date the rock based on what's in it. And we can show that it's materially different to different strata of rock, right? Older rock contained this composition, newer rocks contain this kind of composition, because these are our findings, right?
I understand.
So we put this rock on the chart, and we can predict how old it is, and then we put it into a radiometric dating machine, which I don't know what they're actually called, but it's neither here nor there, right? And it'll tell us specifically by measuring the exact amount of X isotope, right?
I understand.
But you instead point to the Bible.
Great. Yes, I do.
So it doesn't bother you that our method of gaining information tells us more about the rock?
It doesn't bother me because I don't think, again, I got to talk to my pastor about what we said earlier, but it doesn't bother me because I think that the data is being read incorrectly.
Okay. If I give you the machine and I teach you how to use it, right, and you do the experiment yourself, you're going to get the same result with the same rock. It doesn't matter who does it or how the data is collected, because the data is always the same. You can do the experiment on the other side of the world with no interference, and you're going to get the same, as long as you follow the procedure.
Yeah, Kim, right? I get it.
Well, but I mean, how does that not bother you?
Well, I have to withhold judgment. I need to talk to my pastor. So a lot of things that you think probably should bother me don't bother me.